Honda is making progress with the Zero Series, their new platform set to underpin their next generation of electric vehicles, or really their first generation of electric vehicles. Of course, the Prologue and the ZDX, those are all GM Ultium vehicles, but Honda does have EVs in China, and then they also have EVs in Europe, which are there, so I guess just technically their new generation North American platform. Earlier this year, Jordan and Jess got a good look at the Honda Zero Series SUV and Saloon in California. We also saw it at CES, and we are expecting the SUV to launch this year, 2025, with the Saloon to launch later next year. Now, Honda keeps relaying that these are prototypes, not concepts. Now, when I look at these vehicles, they feel like concepts, particularly the Saloon. This does not look like an actual car that someone would drive. Okay, you think the Cybertruck looks crazy? This looks absolutely stupid. That's at least my opinion. Now, the SUV does look a little more realistic, and in fact, Honda is now in the prototype testing phase of driving the Honda Zero Series SUV on roads. In fact, Max Verstappen, the F1 driver from McLaren, actually got to ride in it just the other day to get a full idea of what it's like driving the Honda Zero Series SUV platform. But clearly, these vehicles are closer to production than we probably think, and Jordan and Jess in their video did say that the SUV looked a lot more production ready, especially compared to the Saloon. Now, it isn't just Honda we're talking about, we're also talking about its luxurious sibling, Acura. Now, after Jordan and Jess saw the Zero Series Saloon and SUV, Jordan and Timon visited the Zero Series factory where the vehicles would be produced. And while we are getting the Honda Zero Series SUV, we're also getting the Acura RSX. They're bringing the Acura RSX nameplate back for a coupe-ish SUV. Now, instead of building a new EV plant like many automakers are doing, think Hyundai, Kia, Rivian, Tesla, they're building new factories for their electric vehicles. But Honda, Acura are using a pre-existing factory in Ohio and just kind of retrofitting it to fit their EV production, which makes sense, right? You save money, you save construction costs, makes things a lot simpler, you get to production a lot quicker. But the production facilities for electric vehicles and internal combustion engine vehicles have actually been known to be a bit different. Yes, they're giant, large buildings where you produce vehicles, but funny enough, building it from the ground up can definitely help when producing an electric vehicle more efficiently. Either way, Honda is retooling their existing factory, and we will see how this plays out. Now, right alongside Honda and Acura's Zero Series platform vehicles, the Afeela One, the PS5 on wheels, the Sony Honda car will also be built in Ohio right alongside the Acura and Honda Zero Series vehicles, which is exciting. So already this factory has plans for what it's going to start off with on production. Now, Honda released a video with Takuma Sato, a retired F1 driver, to drive a prototype, powertrain prototype of the Honda Zero Series Saloon. Now, on the outside, it is what appears to be a Honda Accord, which makes me think maybe the Zero Series Saloon will kind of have a similar wheelbase, or at least share a lot of exterior components with a Honda Accord, or they just put a Honda Accord on top. Point being, the powertrain is what is going to share the powertrain for the Honda Zero Series Saloon, and that's what Takuma Sato drive. And he called it thin, light, and wise. Now, Takuma drove this powertrain on snow and ice. So I guess it's to really give Takuma an idea of what the powertrain, the dynamics, power delivery is like on a surface so slippery and wet. But Honda in the video kept reiterating thin, light, and wise. Saying here, thin, I'm thinking maybe relates to the lower center of gravity, but that wouldn't relate to a Zero Series vehicle because all EVs have a pretty low center of gravity. You got the battery behind the front wheels, in front of the rear wheels, kind of in the wheelbase underneath the vehicle. That's going to give it a lower center of gravity, but maybe just thin in how it moves, how it drives. He also called it light. So I guess with this EV, a lot of EVs can feel heavy when driving. Maybe this vehicle feels a little lighter, which would be good for a saloon, a sedan. Then he goes on to call it wise, which I imagine driving on a wet, slippery surface like snow and ice, you're driving with all of this power and torque. Maybe the vehicle felt very strong and wise. It felt complete. It didn't feel like it was overbearing on these wet roads, and it was controlling itself. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, this video didn't give us a full reveal of really anything. Again, it's just a Honda Accord body on the powertrain of what will be the Honda 0 Series Saloon. So Honda is really hiding what it's going to look like. But the SUV, well, the SUV we see in the prototype concept is really the body that we're going to see on the production vehicle, which is kind of weird because I just can't get past how this thing looks. It looks really weird. It's got really weird proportions, and I guess that just kind of makes it a bit unsatisfying. But this is the body and the vehicle that we will soon see in production on the roads. And Max Verstappen, the F1 driver from McLaren, gave it a drive, and I guess to really heavily market the Honda SUV. He also said that there seemed to be a lot of room. It rode really nice. It is a Honda marketing video, so I don't think they're going to really include anything of Max saying that this thing drives horribly. But the point is, if Max likes it, then I imagine a lot of people will like it as well. Now, here's when things stop getting boring. Let's talk about the NSX. When the NSX came back from the dead in like 2016, it was a hybrid powertrain. It had electric motors, sub 3 second 0 to 60. This thing was powerful, and it seems that maybe we could be getting an NSX back from the dead as an electric vehicle. Back in like 2022, the president of Acura said that they could see the revival of the NSX on an electric platform, and the 0 Series platform would be the perfect vehicle for that. That being said, whether internal combustion engine or EV, right now, super sport cars really aren't doing that well in terms of sales, particularly lower trim vehicles. Billionaires and millionaires are still continuing to buy their Bugattis and high-end Ferraris, but a lot of your cheaper super sport cars, I'm talking to your Supras and your Mustangs and even your Caymans, are not selling as well. And so would a vehicle like this, particularly electric, sell well? Is this something that Acura wants to invest money in? I don't know, but I do know that I would absolutely love it. And more electric supercars, please. But yeah, look, this is all like early stage stuff. I thought it'd be kind of a good video to kind of sum up what Honda and Acura and Afeela, Sony, are doing. That being said, I think Honda is seriously getting serious about electrification, right? Their first American EVs, they said, here GM, you do it for us. You make the platform, you make the vehicles, we'll just give you some money and we'll give them to our dealers, which is pretty much what's been happening. But finally, Honda is investing a ton of money, time, marketing. They are investing an entire factory just for electric vehicles, and I think that is very important. Honda is one of the biggest automakers on this planet, and I think if they want to continue to ensure that they are in the big five of automakers in terms of sales in the United States, that they're going to want to make sure that when electric vehicles come, that they are right there and ready to compete. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below of the Honda 0 Series vehicles. It's not just hardware, which is important. 0 Series also implements and represents the future of software that Honda is going to be putting in their vehicles. We know software is such a big, important part of a vehicle. We see Tesla doing their own thing, Rivian and Volkswagen now coming together. Nissan is trying stuff out. Ford was doing something, and then they said, no, we're not going to really focus on software anymore. Software is important, and the 0 Series is supposed to cover all of that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Isaiah, and I'll see you guys in the next one.